We're here to support Israeli women, to let them know that we believe them. Their voices can't be denied. Never in my life have I seen a situation where things have been filmed, where there's proof, not that there needs to be, it should be enough that you've been told that it's happened, that there's proof, and people have come outright and said that it hasn't happened and they've denied it. We're here to show them that we do believe Israeli women and we won't stand for it. We're not afraid. We're not afraid of anyone who supports Hamas and their atrocities, and we are by their sides through thick and thin all the way across the oceans.
Other meaningful Rebel News in Melbourne, Australia, where thousands of women have gathered to stand for women, calling for the hostages to be released. They're also venting their frustration over the fact that UN Women, an organisation that should be standing for them and the victims of the brutal October 7 attack, specifically on women, where we saw women raped, butchered, kidnapped, sexually assaulted. They're saying it is not good enough that it took the agency almost 2 months to even mention it, let alone condemn it. On top of that, they're also talking about local fourth wave feminists like Clementine Ford and Abby Chatfield, who not only refused to condemn the attack on women, but also taking it as far as blaming the victims.
Well, that's nothing new, I think, to Israel and to Jews. We've always been the icons of blame. I think in this particular situation, people need to wake up. I think it's not isolated to Jewish women and Israeli women alone. It's Western women as a whole, and your turn will come. Don't be naive. If we don't stop this in its tracks now, I think a lot of women and organisations are afraid to speak up because there'll be backlash against them. It's not a time to be fearful. It's a time to stand up for women's rights and don't hold back.
We are here to support all girls, not only Jews, every girl, a woman in the world, supporting here together.
Yeah, really in solidarity with all women, but especially the Israeli women whose voices haven't been heard, and the indignity and the inhumanity that was put upon them. And it's just beautiful to be surrounded by like-minded people, because I've been feeling very sort of alone, really. And we're all in this together.
What would your reaction be to, probably the biggest names in feminism in Australia, who not only didn't condemn what happened on October 7, but some of them are even going out of their way to victim blame the Israeli women for what happened to them?
I could say that we all make mistakes and you should do your research.
I think she's lost. I think, she hasn't been well educated, and I think there is a lot of that in what we're seeing here in Australia. There's a lot of people who don't really understand the debate. They don't understand the history. They don't know, like the 18-year-old said, they don't know who Hamas is. They don't know where Palestine is. And they're jumping on the bandwagon of what they see and what they hear. And the media is representing the victimisation of the Palestinian women, and that is what everyone is hearing loud and clear. But there is another story, and that is the story of the reprehensible acts against Israeli women and girls and other nations. There were Thai women there were German women there were women from all over the world, and they've been lost because of the propaganda machine that is Hamas.
You can get so caught up and believe all the lies and get taken over by propaganda. It'll be very interesting to see if anything ever happened to them, how they would respond. I mean, seriously.
Do you know who Clementine Ford is?
Yes.
Did you see what she said?
No, I don't want to spend my time on her because she's talking too much rubbish. She makes up stories, and I don't want to...
Highlighting her ignorance, letting her hear other people's voices, just us being together and, in unity, and just highlighting what was done to the women and girls and all women and girls around the world, and just peace. We just want peace, that's all. We just want harmony.
The bottom line is the Jews often feel abandoned, and this is another case. And we just can't believe in this day and age that it should be happening in front of our very eyes. The things that our parents, our grandparents told us, My mother used to say, you scratch a little bit, you'll see underneath there, and it's there. And as Jews, as women, we obviously have to stand up for ourselves and speak loudly. We don't shout as loudly as the other side. Perhaps I'm not supposed to say that, but we have to speak up for ourselves, and it's a tragedy.
It's profoundly disillusioning for a lot of people who interface with the secular world to see who's abandoned us. But I also see how many people are standing with us, and that's very inspiring.
After 2 months, the first thing she says about Israel is that essentially the women deserved it because they're colonisers, they're European. What's your background?
Moroccan.
Moroccan.
Iraqi, half Moroccan, half Iraqi.
So you're not a white coloniser in Israel?
No, I'm not. And my grandparents were born in Israel. Some of them, one part of my family. But anyway, regarding this Clementine, obviously she is full of hate. She's got problems with herself, and she reflected on something that she got no idea. You know, she got no idea what she's talking about.
It is disgraceful. The whole thing is, I actually don't understand, that they can allow this to happen and for their reactions to be silent. They've got to take a stand. We need to band together. Nobody deserves to be treated with such disrespect, because that's what it is. It's disgraceful behaviour. So I don't know. These people are clearly uneducated.
All of these people are bitter people. We shouldn't give them any platform or any stage, to talk to.
But they have a big platform, and they purport to represent women, and here you have, the worst.
What we have to do is to make a bigger platform. That's why we're standing here together, and to show the real story and to show the truth. Nothing can beat the truth, and nothing can beat us.
And why do you think that the Me Too movement around the world, who say believe all women, suddenly in this one instance, which I can't think of any other situation where they're suddenly questioning the women? Do you have a theory as to why that is?
No, I don't. Well, the obvious answer is, it's a form of anti-Semitism, right? But we'd all love to understand that. I think that's really the issue here, is that we'd all really like to understand why Me Too unless you're a Jew. Because that's how it feels.
I never understood how anybody could become a Nazi, but now I can see. When the media, when you have children when you have education that tries to indoctrinate children with propaganda by teachers that haven't even been educated, that don't even know material, you see how the Hitler Youth was established, and you see that normal people in a normal situation can become Nazis. It's been mind-boggling to actually see that.
If Clementine Ford was actually watching this now, what would you say to her?
Get educated, ask questions, and don't be judgmental.
I don't understand. Perhaps they're just reading the newspaper and they're influenced by the media, and they're reading the wrong sorts of platforms. So the Age and probably the only one that now I read is the Australian, and I have stopped looking at social media completely. Don't look, because it was too horrific, and what they did to the women, the brutalisation of their bodies and so on. Couldn't do it. It made me ill. And tears, many, many tears, like, most normal women.
I actually checked online just today, UNICEF Australia. There is no word about the Israeli children. It starts with children in Gaza, then an article about children in Africa. Not a single word, not a mentioning. I'm not talking condemnation, not even a mention. So I sent a message. How about you will write about the 7th of October, the children, Israeli children that were murdered, mutilated, and kidnapped? Obviously, I didn't get any answer.
I don't think people realise that Israel is 1/3 the size of Tasmania, how tiny it is, and it is surrounded by people who believe it should be abolished.
I'm shocked. They really need to open up their eyes and take a very good look to see what's happening, and their silence is unforgivable.
I'll read
No,
you.
don't read it to me.
I think it's
because
important for people to.
I think this is called scapegoating.
Scapegoating?
This is scapegoating is anti-Semitism. It's blaming the victim. If you don't want to take responsibility to acknowledge some evil, then obviously, and the evil is there in front of you, you can't ignore it because the whole world is looking at it, and part of the world does acknowledge that. Then the other way to deal with that is to put it back on the victim.
If you think it's important for the world to hear from the women that so many are trying to silence, even their supposed allies, make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, share it far and wide, because you won't see this anywhere else. And then head over to followavi.com. Make sure to subscribe to the mailing list and follow me across all socials, just in case they end up banning me from the platform you're watching this on right now. followavi.com.